Let's talk about Synchrons. So, the basic idea of this deck is to spam out a bunch of high impact synchros with the best normal summon in the game, Junk Synchron. And he will revive us a copy of Junk Converter, which our skill will also put in our graveyard at the beginning of the duel. And we can use that level 2 non-tuner and a level 3 tuner, that being Junk Synchron, to go into a level 5 synchro, and then Junk Converter's Grave Effect will allow us to revive a Synchron. Well, actually, my bad. It revives any tuner at all. So we don't play any tuners other than Synchrons, so it's not going to be relevant in this deck. But if you wanted to play another tuner, it could revive another tuner if you wanted. But we're not really doing that here. We're just keeping it simple. We're playing the bare minimum in terms of a Junk engine, because the engine is actually incredibly consistent. As you'll see, we have 3 Junk Synchron, right? Then we have 3 Junk Converter, which can search for Junk Synchron. We have 3 Turning, which can search for Junk Synchron. So that is 9 Junk Synchron in our deck. And how does this card search for Junk Synchron? So Junk Converter, you can discard it and another tuner to search for Junk Synchron. Well, it can search for Jet Synchron as well, but in my previous video, you saw that I was playing as well 3 copies of Tuning Gum as, first of all, another tuner to discard for Junk Converter, and second of all, because you can banish it from grave to protect your Synchro monster from a targeting effect. But I did see somebody else's video. They were playing the same monster engine as I am currently in this video, and from that video I was able to figure out clearly this person is successful with a small amount of tuners, so surely I don't need to play that many tuners. So I took out the tuning gums in favor of more back row pretty much. But something that was in their video was they didn't actually have any benefit from using Jet Synchron. They could summon Jet Synchron to protect their life points, but it wasn't going to be any good for them. They couldn't, from their extra deck, they couldn't actually summon anything with it. They had no benefit to having Jet Synchron at all. But this deck has 2 really, really good benefits for using Jet Synchron. But I will explain that later on in the video. Right now, I'm just going to talk about the main play of the deck. So I said before, we make the level 5 Synchro. Junk Converter is going to revive as a tuner. We usually revive Junk Synchron. We make for ourselves a level 8 Synchro. It is often going to be Stardusr Dragon himself, because our skill says that if we control Stardusr Dragon, we can put Formula Synchro on the field next to it, pretty much. But until our next turn, we can only summon Wind Synchros. So essentially that'd be Shooting Star Dragon, right? Which I will explain a bit later. But Formula Synchron allows us to quick effect on our opponent's turn Synchro Summon with it. It's it's the main play of the deck, right? But we could also summon Junk Destroyer to pop a card. It's pretty awesome on summon. It will pop a card. And what's cool about this is we play a card called Necroid Synchro. It allows us to banish a tuner and up to 2 non-tuners from grave. And if we do summon a Stardust Synchro from our extra deck. So let's say we have this in our hand and we have some way of having Junk Synchron. We do the Junk Synchron play. We decide to summon Junk Destroyer to pop a card. The reason why we might do this is Necroid Synchro will allow us to summon Stardust afterwards. We want to pop a card, so we're playing through our opponent's disruptions, right? Then we summon Stardust, activate the skill to put Formula Synchro on the field. Then that way, we've done so much with just 2 cards. We've popped a card, we've got a couple of huge bodies on the field, right? And that is essentially the main play of the deck. In conjunction with Necroid Synchro, Junk Synchron is it's such a funny play. You'll see in the replays just how good it is. But Jet Synchron being the backup play and the follow-up play and a disruption play, apparently, what we can do if we happen to have Jet Synchron engraved by some method or another, that being by Junk Converter or by tuning, because tuning can also send the card of the deck to the grave. If we have Jet Synchron engraved, we could have Junk Converter re-summon it from grave, and then use it and the level 5 to summon Brionac. And what's cool about that is even if we have no cards in hand, this is a good play. Jet Synchron on Synchro Summon, if it was used as the material, gets to search our deck for a junk. So we usually search for another junk converter so that we have free discard photo for Brionac. It's honestly the biggest reason I feel that this deck is being slept on is because nobody is doing this play except for me and the friends that I've told about this play, pretty much. And the people who watched my previous video. Shout out to you guys. But yeah, but the other really cool thing is you can't do this on the same turn because Jet Synchron has 2 effects and they are each hard once per turn, and you can only use one of them. So you have to choose between them. So you could discard a card from your hand during your main phase to special summon it, and then you can use Econ to tribute it to take your opponent's monster per game. This is something I do quite often. But also, let's say you went first and you have a way to get Jet Synchron engraved. My bad. You can summon Jet Synchron, set Econ, and disrupt your opponent's plays by stealing their monster in the middle of their combo, and that's going to cripple them. A lot of decks, if you do that, they just are kind of forced to end their turn, pretty much. So that play enough. The fact that I have been able to successfully take out Tuning Gum and replace it with Forbidden Chalice and Econ, I would be playing 3 Econ. If it were at 3, I'd play the 1 Chalice as like a 6th interruption because I want to have 6. 6 is the number I feel is the right number if I want to open up every game with at least 1 quick play spell. You know what I mean? But funnily enough, I opened Forbidden Chalice so damn much. It's both annoying, but also I'm very happy to have Forbidden Chalice in my hand. Regardless, we also are able to, with Necroid Synchro, summon Stardust Chronicle Spark Dragon, just as a way to go for lethal if we already have Shooting Star Dragon on the field. We could also just hard summon it, right? And then you can banish a Synchro from grave to make it unaffected by card effects that turn as a quick effect. And when it dies, regardless of whether a Necroid Synchro is negating it or not, it will resummon a dragon that is banished, a Synchro dragon that is banished. So that's usually going to be Stardust Dragon, allowing us to stay in the game, go for lethal, you know what I mean? But the main big boy of our strategy, Shooting Star Dragon, is really cool. Look at him. He's sparkling. He has to be tier 0. He can attack multiple times, but we don't do that because even if we built our deck around it, our deck's power would be sacrificed just for the ability to attack multiple times, and I don't think that is worth it. But what he can do is he can negate a destruction effect and destroy the card that activated it. He can also negate an attack by banishing itself, and then it'll resummon itself on the end phase, which is awesome. But the main thing about what makes this good is the fact that Formula Synchron summons it. So essentially what's going to happen most of the time is we're going to have Stardust Dragon and Formula Synchro on the field. Our opponent is going to try to target or try to affect us in some way. We can quick effect summon Shooting Star Dragon to dodge the removal. So that way that we have wasted one of their cards doing something that we were going to do regardless. But yeah, we also have a backup level 5. You can play whatever level 5 you want, but we do play Junk Warrior as our first level 5 just because you do, for this skill, need to have a certain amount of Junk / Synchron / Synchro, like Synchros in your extra deck, and that just kind of fills the requirement. But we do have the backup of Crystron Ametrix, because if you look at throughout the deck, we don't have anything that doesn't target. Book of Moon targets, Chalice targets, Econ targets, Junk Destroyer targets, Brio targets. Crystron Ametrix is to put a non-targetable monster in defense mode so we can beat over it. Like for example, Lunalight Saber Dancer is the biggest one that comes to mind because we don't really have an out to it legitimately. So we put it in defense so we can just beat over it. Bada bing, bada boom, there goes the Lunalights, and we win the game. Unless they have hand traps, but you know, Lunalights is kind of an annoying matchup. But good thing is, people don't play Lunalights. So let's not worry about that too much. But yeah, let's see. Do I not talk about anything? Yeah, I talked about everything. Actually, there is one more thing. If you summon something with Necroid Synchro, of course, its effects will be negated while it's face up on the field. But let's say you summon Stardust Chronicle Spark Dragon, right? If you Book of Moon it, and then at some point you flip it back up, its effects won't be negated anymore, so you will be able to use it to protect itself from card effects. And this happens a decent amount of the time, enough to make it relevant. I win a lot of games simply because this thing is unaffected by card effects, and you might see this in one of the replays. But yeah, let's go into those said replays, shall we? Okay, so first up, we're going against Brionac, which at time of recording has not been nerfed yet, so we will see how that goes. If it gets nerfed, then that's great. We just beat a banned deck pretty much. So Sister is gonna search for his bolt. He's gonna summon Coat. Sister is going to allow them to go into Photon Strike Bouncer. Bouncer is really, really damn good against this deck, which is why it's so imperative to us that we play more disruptions. We need to be able to get through these things. So we use Junk Converter to search for Junk Synchron, but mainly to get Jet Synchron in the grave, pretty much. We had two tuning, so we were going to get our combo off anyway. But yeah, what we're going to do here is, since Bouncer would negate Junk Synchron, we're going to summon Jet Synchron first. Econ take the Bouncer, then summon Junk Synchron and resummon Converter, use them to go into our Junk Warrior. Converter is going to activate to allow us to resummon Junk Synchron. Then 5 plus 3 equals Stardusr Dragon. We can activate our skill, Shooting Star Road, to put Formula Synchro on the field. And then we can Excel Synchro. And then simply attack for game. That was awesome. All just because of Jet Synchron and Econ. That play is the best part of this deck in comparison to every other version of this deck. Okay, so I think we're going against Blue Eyes. Yep, we're definitely going against Blue Eyes this time. They're going first. Sage, Searching Stone, Classic, probably going to Cards of Consonance. Yep, Cards of Consonance. Setting 2 back row, summoning a Blue Eyes on end phase, classic, normal stuff. Alright, so we normal summon Junk Synchron, revive Junk Converter, go into our Junk Warrior, use Junk Converter to revive Junk Synchron. Gonna go for Junk Destroyer, try to pop a back row here. It's Econ, so he's going to try to Econ take us. Thankfully for us, we actually have Econ. So we're just going to get him right back with his own effect. Then use Necroid Synchro. We just played through everything to go into Stardusr Dragon himself. Use our skill. Shooting Star Dragon. And attack for game using his monster. That back row, I'm pretty sure it was back row removal because he couldn't activate it. GG. Alright, so this time we're going first against Gaia. I don't think this deck is going to get nerfed, but it's still incredibly powerful. I think it's going to be tier 1 after the ban list. So tuning, just regular, just searching for Junk Synchron, hoping. The reason we're doing this is because we're trying to mill Jet Synchron. We were lucky enough to mill Jet Synchron. for our interruption play. So we're gonna summon Junk Synchron, revive Converter, just like always. Incredibly consistent deck. We always get this play off. Junk Warrior is gonna resummon our Converter for us. Sorry, not resummon. Junk Converter is gonna resummon our Junk Synchron for us. Gonna summon Stardusr Dragon. And activate our skill to put Formula Synchron on the field. We're going to use Jet Synchron, discarding a card to revive it, setting Econ as an interruption. So he activates Gateway to Chaos to search himself level 7, Gaia Magical Might. Normal summons it, and then goes ahead and special summons his Dragon Fire. Pops his own field spell for some reason, but activates the skill anyway. Galloping Gaia turns off battle phase effects for us and gets to search him some cards. He's going to activate his stuff. We're going to Econ to prevent him from actually fusion summoning. And he's crying now. He just has to set a card and end his turn. From this point, we can go into Stardust Chronicle Spark Dragon to be unaffected. So if he tries to do anything, like I think he might be trying to do, I can just essentially not care about it, to be honest. The Junk Converter is going to resummon Junk Synchron. I'm going to go ahead and go into Junk Destroyer, pop something, the field spell of course, because we like having battle phase effects. We don't want our opponent to be able to turn off our Chronicle. But yeah, we're going to banish Stardust Dragon to stop Book of Moon. And if he has some way of killing our Chronicle, we're going to get back Stardust Dragon. And yeah, he's just going to summon his Dark Flare and end his turn because he's run out of plays. We're going to attack. We don't have game just yet, but that's fine. We have Chronicle. Chronicle is game in a lot of games, really. Yeah, he just sets one and ends it. We're just going to attack the game. He just turned his toggle off probably because he knows he's not doing anything. But yeah, that's the deck. It's a lot better than every other Synchron deck I've seen, and it's far better than the one I previously showcased on the channel, because honestly, I did like tuning Gun, but the thing is, it did contribute to some bricks, and if I had a way to take it out, I would have done so way long ago, because I had the mindset that I needed to play a decent amount of tuners so that Junk Converter would always be live, but seeing somebody else having success with just 5 tuners in his deck and 3 tuning, it was fine. It's honestly fine. There's no issues at all. And this deck is man, even the deck I saw that showed me that you only need to play 5 tuners, they weren't playing any reason to use Jet Synchron. And this deck doesn't have just one. It has 2 reasons to play Jet. It's unfair sometimes, I feel, to be able to take your opponent's things in a deck that is already this good with its 1-card starter. But yeah, if you liked the deck, like the video, subscribe if you want to see more decks like this, and I'll see you next time.